Alright, welcome to today's video, guys. I'm going to be here to talk to you about why the Bears regressed last season, and there should be nothing to worry about for next season. But before we get into today's video, subscribe if you are new, leave a like for new daily and upload videos like this, and subscribe if you are new again for daily videos like this. So let's get into today's video. So let's take a little back in time to the 2018 off season where we came off a 12-4 season along with the double doink in playoffs, and we had lots of high expectations. Mitch Trubisky being the MVP of next season, the defense being the top 10. But there were some questionable moves that I'm going to get into. The first with Vic Fangio leaving the Bears as the defensive coordinator as a new head coach He's now a head coach on the Broncos now. That was kind of one of the most hugest losses in the offseason. And we signed Chuck Pagano, which I'm going to get into for a minute during the offseason, because this system was on their first year of Chuck Pagano. They were still kind of dominant, but sometimes the first season of a new defensive coordinator does not go well. It does not go great. I'm pretty sure Vic Fangio's first season as a defensive coordinator of the Bears did not go great either. And he did not do great on the Denver Broncos either on his first year as a head coach. And he still has yet to prove there in his second year. Now getting into there were lots of losses. Jordan Howard, which I understand, but it kind of hurted us this season. Trading Jordan Howard to the Eagles for that much picks. There's a reason why we got rid of him, but it kind of hurted us this season. He kind of really didn't fit in Matt Nagy's game system in Matt Nagy's first year as a coach. He didn't really catch well, and it was kind of a reasonable thing to trade him away for that much picks. But here's the thing I don't like: his replacement, which we sooner cut him in the season. It was Mike Davis from the Seattle Seahawks, which I did not like personally. I did not like the signing. I knew it was a terrible signing. And replacing Howard with Mike Davis, but they kind of made it up by drafting Montgomery, but they didn't. They barely started Montgomery because I think this was for good reason, because to have a veteran like Mike Davis and Tariq Cohen start off. So Montgomery was just there. He was just non-existent until they cut Mike Davis. And Montgomery started showing that he could be a potential running back. Now, getting into the preseason, Matt Nagy focuses on the kicker situation. Then he has his whole team focus on the double doink, and he focuses much on the kickers. It was a kicker competition, in my opinion. In the preseason, he didn't even start a single starter. Not Mitch Trubisky, just a bunch of third stringers and that kind of affected their Week 1 matchup against the Packers. More of it was on Trubisky, but more of it was on the O-line. The O-line wasn't really helping him this season. They were last of protection. So his O-line sucked in Week 1. But after that Week 1 loss, Trubisky kind of took a next step in that Broncos game when he had a nice comeback at the end against Denver. Then against the Redskins, he had a bunch of easy touchdowns against the Redskins. Then in that Week 4 matchup against the Vikings, he got hurt that game. And that was because of the O-line not doing a great job protecting him. Now here comes Chase Daniel. They still won that game, an outstanding defensive performance by the Bears, holding Kirk Cousins to 6 points and was able to shut down Dalvin Cook. Now here's a little where it gets a little bad. That London game against Oakland, Matt Nagy's dumb plan to let us go there on a Friday, and it kind of affected the game, even though they almost came back. But here's the thing: the backup was Chase Daniel that game. And plus, we seen Chase Daniel barely played this in his entire career. He has barely played, and he has one Super Bowl, but he was a backup under Drew Brees that year. But Chase Daniel can look good from here to there, but he is a backup for a reason. And Chase Daniel sucked that game. I could say lots of the reason was because of the defense not stopping Josh Jacobs, and I kind of understand why, because they took Akeem Hicks's injury that game and took it to their advantage in triple teaming Khalil Mack every play, and Khalil Mack was being a dead horse and was being non-existent. So Akeem Hicks is out for the remainder of the season until he comes back during Green Bay in the week 15 it was. Yeah, week 15 it was. That it was a part of the defense's fault because they couldn't stop Josh Jacobs for torching that defense, and pretty much lots of injuries were kind of infected where we were missing Trevathan, and the adding of the reason why Eddie Jackson didn't have many interceptions like he did last year, which I will go into that later on. Eddie Jackson kind of looked non-existent, but I'll get into that why later. Also, that Raiders game, it was more on Chase Daniel, but more of it was on the offensive line, not protecting him. And plus, his wide receivers, except for Allen Robinson and Jamal Williams, and plus, before the season even started, Trey Burton was on IR, and I was hoping to have him healthy this season to see what he could do, and he can redeem himself from last year's injury. But he kind of had the same injury again this season. Trey Burton is a great player. Don't get me wrong, but we couldn't trust him to stay healthy, which is the reason why we got Graham. But the tight ends were non-existent. Because you got Trey Burton, who is out, and he's non-existent all the time. Adam Shaheen, which kind of didn't live up to the hype when he got selected, which he's currently now on trading block. And most of our tight ends were not very great either. It got to the point where we had to get one from our practice squad, Ben Brodiker, to score the touchdown, and Jesper Horstgen. And Jesper Horstgen was a practice squad member. Now, that is the other reason why that our tight ends were non-existent this season, and most of them were buses. Now, the Saints matchup, where it was kind of on Matt Nagy's fault because his play calling was terrible that game, and plus he decided to not use Montgomery or Tariq Cohen that game by throwing it 70-something times and not running the ball. But that's on Matt Nagy. Some of it was on Matt Nagy, but most of it was on Trubisky with his overthrows and that O-line too. And most of that because of that defense, but I could say the defense stood out there for a very long time, and they were kind of tired out, and they couldn't just take it anymore because they had no faith in their quarterback. Now, that Chargers game, when he had the worst first half I've ever seen, and they got booed off the field even though their team was leading at halftime. They had 7 red zone opportunities, and only one of them ended up in a touchdown. But it was more on the offensive line, but that fumble recovery by Joey Bosa, that was also on the O-line for just letting him trunk through that O-line. Now, our run game was existent. We just didn't have protection to protect that running back, which I think is also kind of the reason Matt Nagy wanted to keep his running backs non-existent. So that Chargers game, even though I'm kind of surprised Eddie P didn't get much heat on the game. I kind of don't blame him. It was more on the offense, but it should have never came down to that. And the Eagles game where they had like 9 yards in offense, a lot of it is on Matt Nagy for throwing screen passes and having no protection. And more of it was on Mitch Trubisky, and more of it was on the O-line. But the second half, they sort of came back, but on that kickoff return, I know they would have needed some miracle, but Adam Shaheen fumbled their chances. And he got benched ever since then. Now, they win a game in Soldier Field against the Detroit Lions Stafford team. Then, no, it was week 10. Never mind. It was week 10. Trubinsky kind of looked great that game, but in the Rams game, where he got benched, it's kind of to say that Trubinsky did not play that bad as you think during that Rams game. It's just his O-line, his receivers were dropping. Anthony Miller was kind of looking like it took him a while before he started going back into his rookie self. Taylor Gabriel was dropping a lot of passes, and after that game, Taylor Gabriel was out for the whole year due to concussions. And the defense was kind of not doing great also, but it was kind of during Akeem Hicks's injury, and like I said during the offseason, that this defense was under a new coaching Chuck Pagano. But they're kind of not the main reason why the Bears regress this season. It's more on the O-line and more of the quarterback. But they start going on a 3-game winning streak, but they were up against a Giants team, and the Giants team that almost came back. And everybody was triple teaming Khalil Mack. But here's the thing why Khalil Mack had 8 sacks that season. Okay, he had like four forced fumbles before Akeem Hicks's injury. And Leonard Floyd, the guy that's on the Rams right now, who we replaced with Robert Quinn now. Robert Quinn was also getting double teamed, but he got 11 sacks. But everybody was triple teaming Khalil Mack. But everybody is going to say Zadarius Smith is better than Khalil Mack. Zadarius Smith had Preston Smith and Kenny Clark. Wait, did I say his name right? Frank Clark, or however, is it 91? I'm not sure. But either way, that's why Zadarius Smith was getting a lot more sacks than Khalil Mack. And plus, they had also Blake Martinez, which was also kind of going to be their issue next year with their gamble on Christian Kirksey, depending if he stays healthy this season. But we're not here to talk about how Green Bay will do. We're here to talk about how the Bears did last year. So they get eliminated. First off, they start off a 3-game winning streak after they bounced back from the Rams game. Khalil Mack started surprisingly, he had 0 sacks between both Lions games, because they were triple teaming him every play. And pretty much, it's not his fault. His defense, Leonard Floyd was being a bust. Eddie Goldman's decent, but he's not really that great of a player. Trevathan was out, and I'm sure Nick Kwiatkowski has showed some promise, but he's gonna have to earn more of that. Now getting into Eddie Jackson and why you didn't see him that much this season. After we got Clinton Dix, we moved Eddie Jackson to strong safety, which he isn't really good as a strong safety. We moved after we signed he was automatically free safety. Now after left, Eddie Jackson's been moved to free safety. And now you're going to see a lot more of interceptions by Eddie Jackson when he's in that position. Now, the CB position was kind of a letdown, other than Kyle Fuller. Prince Amukamara, as much as I like the guy, but he was getting old and he was letting players burn him left and right, like at the Lions game where he got torched and he let that bomb of a play happen. Prince Anukamura just didn't. His age was slowing him down, and that's the reason we benched him during that Green Bay loss. And that Green Bay loss was mostly on the defense for not tackling and giving up no hope. But they showed a little fight at the end. It was just Matt Nagy had no running game, Trubinsky, bad O-line, whatever you say. Then the Bears were automatically eliminated from playoff contention. Okay? And they ended with a season barely being the Vikings' backups with needing a game-winning field goal, which was kind of embarrassing in my opinion, that they should have never needed a field goal to a team that they beat with their backups. So let's see what the Bears have done this offseason. Okay, they let go with a lot of offensive coordinators, which is kind of their fault, the main reason their offense, and they got rid of their lineman coach, which they filled in a gap, and they added tight end, like putting Jimmy Graham, which did better than most of the Bears tight ends did this season. Getting rid of Prince Anugamora and Taylor Gabriel, because Taylor Gabriel didn't really, like, he had lots of drops and he was out with a lot of concussions during that time, which makes Anthony Miller our number 2 wide receiver. Now the next signing, which was after Chase Daniel signed with the Lions, the Bears needed a quarterback that could potentially fill out the gap if Trubinsky doesn't work out, which is the reason why they got Nick Foles, which he's very familiar with the Bears coaching system. They had John Filippo, which they got as the quarterback coach, Bill Lesnar, the offensive coordinator, and the main head coach, Matt Nagy. All those people I just named were a part of Nick Foles' great success and legacy. And the releasing of Trey Burton, which it kind of makes sense why, because he was on IR before the season started, and if we kept him, he probably would have been out the season. He probably would have been out again. But I wish him nothing but the best on the Colts. Now with Adam Shaheen, Ryan Pace said he's on trading block, and he didn't kind of live up to the hype to his baby Gronk. So they added a number 3 wide receiver, which I kind of think that Wims could potentially be the next wide receiver, or maybe Riley Ridley. We added also Tanglin Jr., which has been a great threat in Drew Brees' offense, and I think he could help either Mitch or Trubinsky. Now they only added 4 offensive linemen this offseason. And they added more defensive players, like moving Eddie Jackson to free safety instead of strong safety. After HaHa left, strong safety is now Travis Gibson, and lots of Texans fans were pretty mad when Bill O'Brien cut him, so thank you, Bill O'Brien. Re-signing Danny Trevathan and adding a veteran backup that's very familiar with Chuck Pagano, just in case Trevathan goes down. Adding Jalen Johnson, the CB from Utah. He had a great season in Utah, which he's probably going to be our CB2. And our CB fee will probably be Buster Screen. But if Buster Screen turns out not to be, he's probably going to get benched for our other rookie that we drafted in the 3rd round, Kyle Vanoid, or however you say his name is. But that defense got better this season, getting Robert Quinn and Akeem Hicks coming back from injury. I kind of don't see the problem with the defense here. But the only problem is the offense. I'm pretty sure Montgomery, the reason why, because he sat behind Mike Davis, which was another terrible signing. But Matt Nagy, it takes longer to know a rookie until you first know him. Okay, the rookie can have some promise, but he could out to be a potential bust, which is kind of the reason why Matt Nagy wanted to keep that non-existent. And I think they're going to use Montgomery a lot this season because Montgomery has shown some promise against the Chargers, against the Vikings, Week 17 game, and he has shown some promise. And pretty much, depending if Tariq Cohen wants to get involved, Tariq Cohen's very dangerous when it comes to punt returns. Not as great as Devin Hester. Cordell is going to be on the kickoff, and he's a great kickoff returner. Don't get me wrong. But getting to the quarterback issues, I know everybody wants to blame Mitchell Trubisky regressing, which he kind of did regress, and they declined his fifth-year option, which is kind of the reason why they got Nick Foles to possibly mentor Mitch Trubisky and to make him probably a solid quarterback in the NFL. Now, the reason why Mitch Trubisky kind of regressed was just kind of his bad reads on defense and the fact that Matt Nagy didn't start him during preseason. And the bad O-line, which was I said again one of the worst O-lines in the league, was just kind of the reason why he regressed and did not live up to his second pick expectations. So I can't wait to see how he does this upcoming training camp where he competes with Nick Foles. But Mitch Trubisky will be most likely starting, and if he does bad, then that means he's done with Chicago and Nick Foles comes in. But I have a feeling the Patriots might go after Mitch Trubisky because the Patriots are known for developing young quarterbacks. And I would really hate to see another failed Ryan Pace draft pick. So that's kind of it for. I'm not going to say that's it yet, but I want to say why people have been saying the Bears are going to do bad, or why they did great in 2018 and why they're not going to do great for the next 15 years, which was from Dumb Bears fans Paris. We all saw this coming because y'all had the easiest schedule in the NFL that year. Didn't they win that division that year with a 5-1 record? Didn't they shut down a high-powered Rams offense and hold them to 6 points at Soldier Field? Didn't they also were in contention for a first-round bye? Wasn't their defense like one of the best in the NFL under Vic Fangio? That doesn't look like easy to me, bruh. That really doesn't. And they also shut down Dalvin Cook. Well, how is that easy? And don't say Kirk Cousins. They shut down Dalvin Cook, which he's arguably one of the best running backs in the NFL today. And the reason why everybody's downing the Bears is because how terrible they will do the season, and lots of them will say our defense is going to regress. That Khalil Mack is not really living up to his Hall of Fame career, and some of us have going 13-3, like that was last year's prediction. Some of the predictors are having the Bears going 3-13. Many's having us going 7-9 and being bottom last in our division. Bleacher Report has us going 6-10. The others have us going 7-9 and 5-11 and 8-8 again, and potentially being the 8-8 prediction had us being third again. Like, do you even know football, man? Do you even know football? It's not I get why you want it down on the Bears, but some of them have been saying Khalil Mack isn't a top 10 5 rusher. Eddie Jackson isn't a great free safety, and Allen Robinson isn't a great wide receiver, and some stupid I can't say his name, but somebody said the Bears were the second worst team in the NFL in front of the Jaguars. And I kind of really didn't get that. And whenever the media doubts us, that's why it's when the Bears would mostly take it out there, and we're going to be like, it's the media always against us. We're going to play like we still belong. We are going to play that we are great. We are going to show the media that sometimes you need to shut up. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys are doing a wonderful day. Having a wonderful day, even through this time of year. So I really can't wait to see the Bears next season. So that's it. That's all. And always, bear down.